So for today's summary, we are going to summarize the chapter to configure network operating system. First is operating system. Uh, Shell, the user interface that allows user to request specific tasks from the computer. This require this request can be made either through CLI or GUI interfaces. So and here we are able to configure and shell. Then next is kernel communicates between the hardware and software of computers and manages how hardware resources are used to meet the software requirements. Next is hardware, the physical part of the computer. And this is the command line interface. And this is the GUI or graphical user interface. Mm, Next is purpose of the OS network operating system similar to a PC operating system. Through a GUI, a PC operating system enables users to use this and CLI, use keyboard to run CLI based network programs, use keyboard to enter text and the output on the monitor. Next is access methods. CLI access methods can be console, console, SSH, and telnet. Console is used when we are going to initially configure our, for example, our switch. We will going to use console. In order to use console, we are going to use a console cable that we are going to connect to the switch and to the computer so that we are able to configure our switch. Next is SSH or secure shell. Secure shell is a method for remote management. After we have configured our for example our switch, we are able to configure it using SSH or secure shell. Secure shell is very useful on configuring, especially when you are going to remotely configure your switch. Why? It's because it's more secure than telnet. Telnet telnet is also a telnet is also a remotely you can remotely configure the intermediary device using telnet, but it is not as secure as SSH. And next, terminal emulation program. Mm, It can be you can use PUTTY or PUTTY, Teraterm, Secure CRT, OS X Terminal. This is an example of PUTTY configuration. This is Teraterm, and this is Secure CRT. Next, CVT, Cisco IRS modes of operation. Okay, let's skip the videos. Um, Primary command mode. User exec mode. This mode has limited capabilities but useful for basic operations. It allows only a limited number of basic monitoring commands that does not allow execution for any commands that may change the configuration to the device. The user exec mode is identified by the CLI from prompt that ends with a greater than symbol. Then the privilege exec mode, to execute the configuration commands, a network administrator must access privilege exec mode. Higher configuration modes like global configuration mode can only be reached from privilege exec mode. The privilege exec mode can identified by the prompt ending with a hash symbol. So that uh, user exec mode is, for example, you enter the CLI for the switch. If you press enter, you will be If you press enter, you will see the user exec mode, which prompt that ends with a greater than symbol. Then if you type enable, you will able to access privilege exec mode. Then configuration command mode, global configuration mode. Mm. On global configuration mode, the CLI will show the host name with the config and the hash on the last part of the word. Then it divides on a sub configuration mode, which is line configuration mode to configure console SSH, telnet, or aux access, and interface configuration to use switch port or router network interface like IP addresses. So in order to go to the sub configuration mode, you can type wait oh I forgot notepad. We're able to type enable to the user exec. Then after you type enable to the user exec, you will going to type con- configuration configure terminal to you will type to privilege privi- privilege exec. Then after you type enable to the user exec, you will go into the privilege exec, and on privilege exec, you will go into type configure terminal, so that you will able to enter the global configuration mode. Then when you're in global configuration mode, you are able to access two sublayers. In order to access those sublayer, you will going to type in the global configuration mode line console 0 or line VTY or line VTY 0 to 15 to configure your to put a password to your remotely access switch, and line aux 0. And if you want to go to interface, you will simply type interface VLAN 1 to type to put an IP address or for okay, that's all. And let's proceed. If you enter line configuration mode, this will be its this will be what will this will be displayed on your CLI. And if con- interface some configuration mode is this switch open parenthesis config dash if. Then next. Hmm. Okay. If you were able to exit from different modes, just simply type exit and you will go back to your previously on the on your previous mode. And if enable you will go to the privilege exec. If you type disable to privilege exec, you will going to return to user exec mode. And control Z if you are on global configuration mode or sub configuration mode. If you press control Z on the keyboard, you will be back to the privilege exec mode. And if the privilege exec mode, you will go into back to if you control Z on the privilege exec mode, you will be back to user exec mode. Then and will go back will will put you back to, if you type into the sub configuration mode or unconfigured terminal, you will be back on privileged exec mode. Then proceed. Um, okay. Some of uh, some of the commands on the CLI, we use a keyword and parameter like switch show IP protocols. Then let's proceed. Description. Ping is to, if you ping 10.10.10.10.5, you will able to know if there's a connection to that IP address. And if you trace route the IP address, you will know how the MS. Okay, let's proceed. Um, okay, context sensitive help or command syntax check. If you doesn't know if you doesn't know what will the command next to that command, you will simply type the question mark. So it will give you a lot of choices on what command you need. Next is hotkeys. Mm, Okay, this is some hotkeys here. Okay, tab, backspace, control D. Okay, control K, erase character from cursor and command line. Escape D, control U. These hotkeys will make your configuring much efficient more more or easier. And some other commands on the CLI, all of the commands on CLI, if the, for example, configure, you can shorten it by con, or running, you can shorten it by run. But if shorter con, it won't work because more than one command begins with a con keyword. So let's proceed. Video. Wait, what is, okay? Had system shortcut only. Tracer. Device names. On device names, the host name should start with a letter, contains no spaces, and with a letter or digit. Um, use only letters, digit, and dashes. Be less than 64 characters in length. Okay, like this. The switch is named as 1 floor 3. This is SW floor 2, SW floor 1. Next. Hmm. To configure um, to configure a host name, you should simply go to the global configuration mode or configure terminal. Then just let's go to configure terminal terminal. And after we go to the configure terminal, we will go to type the command hostname and space, and what is the name that you want to put on your switch. Let's say it's SW dash floor dash 1. And always remember that on creating a hostname, you should use a digit, letter, and a dash. And enter, and done. To remove configure hostname, return switch to default prompt. Use the no hostname on global config mode. Then securing device access. Secure administrative access, secure privileged exec access with a password, user exec access with a password, secure remote telnet access with a password, which is this is BDY line line console, and this will be some other commands like enable secret password like that. And other task is encrypt all password and provide legal notification. Okay. On choosing passwords, use password more than 8 characters in length, combination of upper and lowercase letters with numbers and special characters, and avoid using the same password. And okay, let's proceed. Configure password. Uh, enable secret is to create a password for the privileged exec mode. We were able to type enable secret and what is the password that we want. And for line console 0, for a console, we are able to type create a password by um, on global configuration mode and enter the sub configuration line and type line console 0 to enter the sub configuration line and type the command password. Then what's the password that we want? After that, after we set a password, we should put the command login so that that the that our configuration for the password will um will be established. Then underline VDY to secure our remote connection. We are going to uh, line sub configuration mode. We're going to type the command line VTY 0 to 15. It's default. Then after that, enter. Then type password and what password that we want. Then don't forget to type the login command so that your that um that the security that you create will work. Okay. Next is uh, the password encryption. Uh, if you create a password on a sub configure sub configuration modes, for example, you create a password on line console 0, line bty, line aux, and on those lines, uh, if you look whether the running what are running on your CLI, it will appear that your password is in plain text. So we need to encrypt those passwords for more security. So in order to do that, we were going to type service, the command service password dash encryption, then enter and exit and show running configuration configuration. Oops, configure config. Oh, running config. Okay, forgot. Show running dash config. So as you can see, the password is now encrypted. So this is show running config or show run is the command to verify that the password are now encrypted, and the service password encryption is the command for encrypting the all the passwords that are in plain text. Let's proceed. Banner message. Banner To create a banner message, you will simply type the command banner motd, then a double quotation, then what are the message what is the message that you want to display on the very first access to your CLI of your switch, and after the message you will close it by a double quotation again, then type a hash symbol at the very end. Now, okay, syntax checker. Let's encrypt all passwords. Service password dash encryption. Oh, service bus. Tama naman nga. A second. Service password. Oh, encryption. Then, so we are able to encrypt our password. Then secure privilege extract. Um, enable secret. Ena- uh, enable secret water password class. So now secret is if we type enable secret and type a password, it will be the password will already be encrypted when we look at our running configurations. Now secure console line only, and allow login. Don't forget login. Line console 0, then password Cisco, oops, capital C, Cisco, oops, SA0, password Cisco, then login. Don't forget login for it to work. Then line VTY, first 16 VTY lines, then line VTY 0 to 15 because 0 count as 1 and 15 count as 16. Then password Cisco, then login. Then we are able to configure and secure our switch. Now let's proceed. This is saving the running configuration file. Startup configuration is a file stored in non-volatile RAM access memory or an NVRAM. Is so if the switch or router is rebooted, it already contains the configured informations. Then the running config is the file stored in a random access memory. So if the switch suddenly turned off with a power loss and it's not safe, it will be vanished forever. Uh, so to show our running configuration, just simply type show running dash config. To show our startup configuration, just simply type the command show startup dash config. If you want to save uh, your running configuration to your startup configuration, you will simply type the command to the privilege exec mode, copy running config space startup config. So it will prompt you to save and just click enter, then save. Then next, after the running configuration, just simply reload. Okay, you will able to also to erase startup config on privilege exec mode. Next, capture configuration to a text file. So running. Next, next, IP addresses. Um, okay, computer's workstation. Yes. Okay, interfaces and ports. Okay, it, it's on a computer. Okay, static. Okay, static configuring an IP address. You will manually put an IP address on the IP address here and put a subnet mask and default gateway. But you can also obtain IP address automatically using DHCP. Switch virtual interface configuration. It's the VLAN, interface VLAN. It's where we are going to add an IP address for our switch. Using the IP address command, you will going to enter sub configuration interface and type inter to enable for in order to do that, we're going to type the command interface VLAN1 to the global configuration mode. And after you enter the interface sub configuration mode, we're going to type IP address, and next is the IP address and the subnet mask. After that, you will going to type no shutdown. That's all. Syntax checker. Okay, let's try. So enter. So type interface VLAN 1. Then type IP address 19 oops, 192.168.10.2 with subnet mask of 255.255.255.0, then enter. Then type no shutdown and done. Next, interface addressing ipconfig. If you type ipconfig, you will able to see to verify the host network configuration, or show or type the show IP interface brief on the privilege exec mode. End-to-end connectivity test is a ping command. You will going to type ping and the address that you want to check the connectivity test. Then uh, and that's all for chapter 2. I hope you understand something, and I hope you like my video, and I hope you learned something new from me, and thank you for watching.